Hello, my name is Eric Piccioni. I'm an American living in Russia. I wanted to make this video to describe my experience getting LASIK in Russia, of all places. So I'm going to walk through why I decided to get LASIK in the first place, the procedure itself, the examinations, the checkups, the recovery process, and where I'm at now. So stay tuned throughout the whole video. I'll break it down step by step, and let's get into it. So I'm going to try to do this in one go. I've got my notes here, so I'm going to try to stay on track. But to give you guys some context, I've been with, I would say, not great vision for over 15 years now. And my older brother and I were always very competitive. We played sports. And of course, one time we went to the eye doctor and he had perfect vision and I did not. And I didn't want to tell anyone because I thought that I could just get by. I didn't realize how bad my vision was until I got to high school, and I was a sophomore in high school sitting in the back of the class with my friend trying to go throughout the lesson, and I was blind as a bat. I couldn't read a single letter. I couldn't read a single word on the board, and I had to squint my eyes every time I wanted to read anything. And he had just gotten glasses. He had given me the glasses as like a way to try them on and just see if my vision was better. And it was like a whole new universe, just being able to see for the first time, like clearly. And ever since then, I got glasses, sophomore year in high school, and I'm 29 now. My birthday was like a couple days ago. So woo, we're almost at 30. And I got glasses, got contacts, and I just been going throughout the motions for over a decade now. And I figured that there was no way that I would even want to get LASIK. It just seemed so scary to me. My aunt, one of my aunts, has LASIK, and she really loved the experience. She got it over 20 years ago and recommended that I try it out. And that conversation was about 5 years ago. And I started to look into it more and more. I got some ideas or prices of how much surgery would cost in America or in the States. And collectively, it's around $2,000 to $3,000 per eye, so around $5,000 to $6,000 all in. And I figured that it would be worth doing, especially if it meant that I could not need to wear glasses or contacts ever again, and just ideally go outside and not need to bring anything. So I put it on the back burner. I essentially just thought I would do it at some point. And fast forward a couple years, we ended up moving here to Russia. I ended up getting my Invisalign, so I got my bottom teeth finally done. If you watch some of my videos from 6 months to a year ago, you'll see that some of these teeth were very out of whack. So I ended up getting that done and essentially like realigned them, so now they're a little bit more straight, and I'll sleep with like a mouth guard on to keep it. So I figured the only thing left that I was really have been wanting to do for years now is fix my eyes, because I can't read when I'm driving and trying to read letters. I can't read them really until I'm like maybe 10 meters away, and I can't really read any words at all, period. So it makes things hard, especially if I forget my glasses or if I forget my contacts and I'm out for a long period of time. I would rather wear contacts, but I can't. So LASIK made a ton of sense. Ended up really deciding that I wanted to do it around 6 months ago, and figured that after our son got his paperwork finished for the citizenship and passport for America, we would consider going in and getting a consultation for LASIK. So ended up doing that, got a consultation like 2 weeks ago, and they said that you can come in next week. So 7 days from the time of the exam to now you can do it. And we went in to get the checkup or the analysis of my eyes, and the medical equipment was state of the art. I mean, this from what I'm hearing or from what I've learned from people, Russia was one of the first breakthroughs in like cataract surgery and like eye surgery. So they're really on top of their game when it comes to making sure that people have good vision. And I've talked to a ton of people in Russia that have gotten LASIK, and they haven't even needed to go back for 20 years and their vision's still great. So to me, that felt comforting, because I've heard some stories in the States where someone might go 5 years or 10 years and they need to go back, or they have like very major complications. So come to find out, and I'm sure this exists in the States, I just haven't seen it that much on my research, but there's like LASIK, there's femto LASIK, and then there's clear or smile. So LASIK is like they get a scalpel or a knife and cut your eye a bit. They create a flap and then they remove the tissue that exists there, something of that nature. Femto LASIK is essentially a laser that cuts the flap and creates it. Smile and clear there is no need to create the flap, and they just essentially create a small incision in your eye, or in your eye, and they'll remove the tissue that way. I don't know much of this stuff. I was just reading it a couple of days before the surgery to figure out what the heck I was doing. And it's the most modern version of LASIK that I could possibly find. And I couldn't find much research on it in the States. So I didn't know like word for word what it would compare to in the States. I don't know how many clinics have this option. So not much to compare it against. But we went into a clinic out where we live in Yaroslavl and did all of the checkups and just make sure that what the procedure would need to look like for my vision to do well and for my eyes to do well. And it was very thorough. It was 2 hours of just different exams and all these eye drops and making sure that they knew down to the millimeter that everything was good as they should. But there was so much equipment that I had never seen before, and I was just used to doing like, the vision, the focus, where they have like an object that gets blurry and all this stuff. And this one, they had like red light lasers that were checking every corner of my eye, and it was wild. Like a whole 2 hour extensive process to just make sure that everything is good. Went in, did all those tests, and then scheduled our appointment for 7 days from that point. Went in the day of the surgery. It was at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. and went to a waiting room. I'm about to be going into surgery. I'm like a couple minutes away. I got my glasses. Probably won't put them on ever again. So that'll be interesting. But also they said that the surgery, I'll be blind for like a couple minutes. Don't freak out. Also just need to be breathing. Well, we'll do 2 rounds. We'll do the first round, which is like the more painful, intense round, and then the second round will be a little bit less painful. So no going back now. Let's do it. Was just hanging out there for a little bit, and time was then to get it done, and went in. And I've heard how LASIK typically goes, and I've heard that it's intense. I didn't expect it to be that intense. I'll tell you right now, like getting LASIK surgery is wild. It's the shortest period you'll ever see from surgery, but it is the most intense, at least the one that I've experienced so far. Maybe not as much as getting a wisdom tooth removed, but it was wild. So they like suction cup your eye, or it felt like that at least. They like pull it out, you go blind for a minute, and then they're just doing stuff, and they're removing the tissue and all the material that makes you not see well. I really don't know how the heck it happened. And then they go to the next eye. So your vision is essentially perfect in less than 5 minutes. So they go in, they pull the eye out of its socket, it feels like, and are doing some stuff with lasers and removing all the tissue. And then it's pretty intense. You're trying to breathe and relax a little bit. And the doctor I had was awesome. She was so helpful. She knew English enough to explain the process of what was going to happen. And I felt super relaxed with them. It still was very intense, but when the time was done, they finished up. It was less than 5 minutes total, the surgery. And then they gave me my sunglasses, and I could already see a little bit better than without before the surgery, but it was pretty interesting. It's like the feeling you wake up and you still got like some eye boogers, and you've got some whatever the word is, the mucus in your eye, and or you sleep in your contacts all night and they're really dry. That was the closest I could describe it as feeling. And you like look around and your eyes are really burning. It feels like there's 1,000 fire ants just biting you. But that was all done. Went to the waiting room to chill out for a second, and then we went home. And the surgery from end to end, all in, was like an hour from getting in the door. Not even, it was like 40 minutes. We got in, had someone else before me that went. I went. We hung out for a little bit, just made sure everything was good, and then we left. And then I came back the next day, and my eyesight was already significantly better than it was prior to the surgery. The thing that happens though is you have what's called like halos, or like this illuminescent light around other lights. So if you look at a distance, or if you look at a light bulb, you'll see the light bulb, and then you'll see like a little halo or lights around it. It's a little weird to see it the first time, but they said it's totally normal. The first day, it was the first full day from the surgery was the time that I really needed to rest as much as possible. It was really just don't look around much, just close your eyes, sleep. And the next day I went after the surgery, checked my eyes again and made sure everything was good. Things were rocking and we're good there. But after it's now been a week since surgery, I went in to check on my eyes, and I mean, I'm 95% healed. I mean, my vision is perfect now. Like I have 120% vision in this eye, probably like 20/15 in English terms, and then this eye is like 100%. So my left eye is a little weaker than my right. This one has astigmatism, or I guess did. So yeah, I mean, that was the bulk of the process. I was very pleased with the service. There was very minimal pain. It was just the beginning, the first day, I had to wear my sunglasses inside the whole day, so I was like a real cool dude. But yeah, it was super simple. I went with the clear method. So clear being the most advanced or modern version of the surgery, and has the least risk or least downside because they're not cutting any part of your eye and like creating a flap. So the recovery, to my understanding, takes a little bit longer, but like I could already work out and swim within the next few days. The only thing I can't really do, which is unfortunate, is I can't go to the banya and the sauna, and unfortunately, for the next month. So that's unfortunate, but I can really do everything already, and that was interesting because I've heard people need like a couple days, if not a week or two, before they can really start to exercise and move around. So that was interesting. But they gave me drops. This is already done. I don't need to put these in anymore. This is Signicef, and it's like more of an antibiotic. And then this is Oftan dexamethasone. So I still need to put this in. And then this is Stilavit, which is like for dry eyes. That's the one that I'll need to wear or put in for the next 3 months. So I could actually throw these out. Don't need those. I need to put these in for 2 times a day for the next week. And then next week, I need to put them in 1 time a week, and then I can toss these out. And I need to continue to wear or put these on for the next 3 months just to keep my eyes moisturized. But yeah, that was the bulk of it. The consensus of this all is, was it worth it? 100%. I think this was totally worth it. It's insane to think that everyone is 5 minutes away from perfect vision. And that was something that I had been regretting or fearful of for years, because I thought, like, what if it goes wrong? But you're also probably not going to go to just some random hole in the wall Lasik clinic. If you're going to do eye surgery, you're probably going to do a ton of research, go to the place that has a lot of reviews and is recommended by a ton of people, like anyone should. So I figured, my vision's not great already, so we'll see what happens. But I figured that I trust people that have been doing this for years now and have done this time and time again, especially with the reviews being the way they were. That was my reasoning, is I might as well go for it. But yeah, I mean, it was 100,000% worth it. And it's insane to think that I don't need contacts or I don't need glasses. Like, I just look around at stuff and it's perfect. And my peripherals are I can see perfectly out of every direction, because when I wear glasses, I have like corners where there's no glasses, and my eyes get a little, the vision's not great there. Same with contacts, you got to keep putting drops in, and it's so wild to think that, none of that's a problem anymore. And yeah, so I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. But yeah, of all places in the world, we did LASIK surgery in Russia. And if you don't know my story, I have other videos that I've made around why I moved to Russia and my reasoning behind it and just my life here. So this is a little bit different video than I usually make. So if you like it, let me know. I try to keep these videos very down to earth, not a lot of production, as you can see. I think the message gets across a lot clearer. I like the more maybe podcast style where it's just talking to a camera. It seems more genuine that way. But let me know if you like this. I'm actually really curious, but I wanted to share my experiences because I thought it was really interesting. As someone that had been on the fence for LASIK for years, I know the horror stories and I'm very aware of them, but that's the whole point of the exam, is to just see if you're eligible for it as well, and just to break down step by step like what they need to do to make sure that you have the best chance of a successful surgery. So I would say if you're on the fence about it, at least get a consultation and see if you're eligible or qualify. And if you don't want to go through with it, no worries. But at least you have an idea of what you're working with. But I'd say it's 1,000% worth it if you're thinking about it, because my vision wasn't terrible. It was like some people are -4, -6. I was -2 in my left eye and -1.5 in my right. So it wasn't the worst, but I definitely couldn't read diddly squat past 20 meters or so. So it made sense for me, but I figured I'd make this video to give some people some context of my experience. And yeah, I'm very, very happy that I went through with it. But thank you for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you soon. God bless. Stay tuned.